Hey folks, it's Mike with Chasing Trail. I figured I'd go ahead and do my build video now. My wife and the girls are out somewhere, so the garage is empty. And, oh, there's some shit on my lens. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. I noticed my camera lens was dirty. Anyway, the garage is open right now, so I figured I'd go ahead and do the build video now. I am missing one piece from the build. That's the Seat Concept seat. That should be here any day, but the bike is clean today. So I figured I would just go ahead and do this now while it's looking pretty. I'm not going to move it because I'm lazy. My wife may be pulling in here any minute, so I might have to pause this and resume. In any case, I'm going to go over everything I did for my build and talk about why, things I liked, things I didn't, so on and so forth. So one of the first most obvious things here is I got a center stand. This is the Hepco and Becker center stand. Overall, I'm happy with this piece. It is heavy. It's probably 10 pounds, I'm just guessing. And sometimes when you drop it down off the center, when you rock the bike forward, the stand doesn't want to go up all the way on its own. You kind of have to kick it to get it to go up all the way, which is a little bit surprising because getting this thing on here, the spring was a real bitch. I had a hell of a time getting that spring on. There it is down there. There's actually two springs. I ended up having to use ratchet straps hooked to the back of the tow hitch on my truck and use the ratchet straps to stretch that spring and get it on. My neighbor ended up coming by at just the right time and helped me do it, but that was really difficult to get on there. But once it's all put together, it works great. Very happy with that. Next thing I see here is this Tusk kickstand enlarger foot. It works really well. However, it adds weight to the foot, and it's probably not a big deal, but I don't know if you can see here. It takes very little to kind of make this bounce because of the added weight on there. My concern is if I hit a big enough bump off-road or something, it might be enough to trigger the kickstand sensor switch, which is located back under here and could kill the bike. So I'll either remove that or bypass the kickstand sensor switch if it becomes a problem. I know it has been a problem for some other people and they just disable it by default. For now, I'm just leaving it as is because it hasn't been a problem yet. Next thing I see here is the triple clamp Moto case guards. I decided to go with these instead of doing crash bars. I spent a lot of time looking at different crash bar options. I saw mixed things about them. Some people said that they didn't actually help. The bike fell over and rocks or something scratched up the plastic anyway. A lot of people said in a tip over the bar is bent and then they had to bend the bars back. I don't like the way some of them mount. It feels like it puts stress on parts of the bike, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, it also adds a lot of weight. I just didn't feel like I need the crash bars. So the main thing I'm concerned about is protecting the engine. So I went with these instead. There's another one. Go over to the other side. I should have moved the bike out, but like I said, my wife's going to be home any minute. I don't want to deal with it. There's one on this side as well, and also covers the water pump housing. So it's three pieces, 1, 2, and then the piece on the other side. Getting the pieces on this side was very easy. They went on no problem. This side was a bitch. And the first one I put on there, this insert here actually punched through the plastic. It didn't hold. There's like a brass fitting insert in there. So I pulled it out, I put some epoxy on there to try to hold it in place with epoxy, and it still wouldn't hold, and it punched through. So I contacted Triple Clamp Moto, sent them a picture, explained what happened, and they sent me the replacement piece at no charge. So very good customer service, but even this replacement piece, I had difficulty getting this on there, and this time I was very careful. He said, make sure you push this piece all the way up before you tighten down the bolts. I did that. It was still very difficult, in particular, to get this bolt threaded. So overall, I don't know, I give it 3.5 stars out of 5, giving it a little extra because the customer service is really good, but this piece really doesn't fit that well. So I don't know. RG also makes the same type of thing, so I don't know. Your mileage may vary. That was my experience, but I am happy with the solution of having these on here instead of doing crash bars. Next thing is this Camel Adventure skid plate. It is very heavy duty. One thing I like about this one in particular, you can see it has this polyurethane or whatever that is that goes underneath, and it goes all the way up and protects the linkage, as you can see there. So I really like that. The install is a bit of a pain. They explain how you need to do it in the video, which is to loosen these bars here. These are not engine supports. They are pretty much just there to support the skid plate, and there's an additional piece that gets put up underneath there. Their video, they have a YouTube video showing the install. It's very thorough and made it very simple. So, and this thing feels really sturdy and well built. I like all the ventilation on there because I've heard some of these actually, people reporting bike engine heat issues because it blocks so much airflow. This one is also compatible with the Euro 5 compliant 2022 models, which mine is. So yeah, happy with that. Good product. Moving on, I put my double take adventure mirrors on here. They're not a must. They're nice to have. I already had them left over. The stock mirrors actually aren't bad. These ones are a little better. They just sit out a little bit wider and give me a little bit better view. Next thing is these Hepco and Becker handguards. I really like the way these look. They feel very sturdy. They mount on here with the stock. You can keep the bar end weights on here, which is nice for vibration. It allows you to use the stock wind guards. I like that. So everything fits on here with the stock setup. They mount onto this. They come with, well, yeah, they mount to the stock top clamp piece there, but there are spacers you put under there. I'm trying to show all this. I ended up stripping these out. No fault of the handguards or anything. I followed the manual's torque guide of 21 foot-pounds, and I ended up stripping these. Blah, blah, blah. I've talked about that already. I'm not going to go back through all that stuff. Overall, I like these handguards a lot. Are they as sturdy or as good as the, these more traditional aluminum style? I don't know. I'm also not sure about putting the mounting point here, if that's better than the bars. Someone who's more knowledgeable about this stuff could tell me. Mostly I got them just because they looked like a factory piece. They're very sleek and kind of subtle. All black, matches the bike. I just like the design of them, and I went with them, and I think they will serve their purpose. Small thing here, I got this little adapter that does USB plugs. It also has a display that shows the voltage there, which is nice to have. The only criticism of this is that voltage display is very difficult to read, especially in the sunlight. It's there, but it's hard to see. This thing was like $10, so off Amazon. I can't really complain. It does what it is intended to do. I added a screen protector to the LCD here. I've had issues scratching these in the past, just when trying to clean them, even with microfiber. It works well, but and this is my fault. I wasn't cautious enough installing this. So you can see I've got one little air bubble down here, one here, and one right up there. The one that's problematic is this, because it sits right over the temperature display, the engine temperature, and that's what I like to have showing. The reason those bubbles are there, and you probably won't be able to see this on this camera, there's a tiny little speck of dust under there, just a tiny little piece of dust, and that's enough to create this bubble. What I failed to do, they actually supplied like a sticker to stick on there and peel off repeatedly to get every last little bit of dust. I think if you just took some compressed air, I did wipe it all down with alcohol, I used all the pads and all that, it looked clean, but apparently there is little like microscopic piece of dust that's enough to create an air bubble underneath here. Spray this off with compressed air first. This piece was only like $12, so I may just buy another one and try it again or take it off, who knows, but just some advice if anyone else tried to do that. I added this windscreen bracket. It's where these are screwing in. This allows you to slide the stock windshield up or down. I have it about, you can see here's the top, Here's the bottom. So I have it pretty much dead square in the middle. That's where I found it to work best for me. It was not expensive. I think it was like $22 or something on eBay. Works great. Very happy with that. Looking around, trying to think of what else I have done. Went over all that. Oh, I put a brake pedal extender on here. This was also very cheap. It was like 15 bucks on eBay. Works just fine. I bolted right on there. It says Tenere, looks nice, and just provides a better feel, easier to press. This will still bend in and everything, so happy with that product. I put the Yoshimura slip-on exhaust on here. I think it sounds really good. I wish it were slightly louder. It's definitely louder than stock, but not much, and that's probably because I have the spark arrestor in. It comes with an optional spark arrestor. You do have to pay extra for that, but because I ride in areas that require that, and we have, you know, it's a very fire prone area, I don't want to be the asshole who starts a fire. I'm keeping it in there. Eventually I'm going to add, I plan to add headers as well, and a different intake air filter, but once I do that stuff, I'm also going to have to flash the ECU, so I'll probably wait until the bike's out of warranty before, assuming I have it that long, right? Before I mess with that stuff. For now, just the slip-on. It sounds really good. It reduced some weight. I think if I didn't have the spark arrestor in, it would be a little bit louder, but like I said, I need to keep that in there. Moving to the back, I've got this tail tidy installed. This was the B&B Off-Road Engineering. There's a lot of really good tail tidy solutions for this bike. I had a really hard time deciding on which one. The reason I ended up going for the B&B is all their products I've ever seen or had experience with are very well made, very heavy duty and sturdy. I like that this one worked with using the stock, people call these pumpkins, and that's probably right. The stock turn signals work just fine. They're very visible. I considered getting LEDs, but it's just more expense. Then you have to get a flasher relay. A lot of them you have to then solder in or get a wiring harness, blah, blah, blah. It just sounded like a ball ache. This one I think looks great. Even with the stock turn signals, you can put LEDs on there if you want. The install was not too difficult. And one thing I really like about this B&B that most of the other ones did not have, a lot of the other tail tidy kits left this area up underneath here exposed. So the wires were kind of exposed. I mean, you could tape them up and everything and it would probably be fine. But I really like that this one seals everything up because you get all kinds of mud and water and everything else flicking up underneath here. And I just think this one had the best design. So it definitely wasn't the cheapest. It took a while to get here from Australia. Not that long though, actually. And I just think it's a good product. Underneath here, that shock, that is a Rally Raid Products shock spring. 95 Newton meter for my fat ass. I also put in stiffer fork springs. I got those from Stoltec Moto. Those were 0.65 kilogram millimeter fork springs. Very happy with how that's all set up. It feels just right for my weight. Oh, last thing I think I also, so the screen protector I ordered from T7 Rally in the UK, and the other product I ordered from them, it's going to be hard to show down here, but I don't know if you can even see it. Behind here on the swing arm, let's see if I can get a better view. It's a swing arm protector, essentially. Here you can see it right here, this piece. So with the stock exhaust location, in a tip over, if you tip over on this right side, it is known to bend the hanger bracket here and cause the exhaust to push in, and then that would cause damage to the swing arm. It seems to be a fairly common issue. So that swing arm protector is just there if that happens to protect the swing arm. Do you need that? No. And in terms of aesthetics, I prefer the look of the high mount exhaust. I came really close to getting one of the high mount exhausts where they have a steeper angle and it bends up, and then they route and come right up underneath here. I think they look really good, and then you minimize the damage in a tip over However, because of the bag solution I went with, and I'll get to that in a moment here, I didn't want the exhaust sitting up here underneath the bags. I know you can get a giant loop thing to protect the bags and whatever. I just didn't want to deal with that. I just wanted to keep it in the stock location because of my bag solution. There's one more piece to show here, but it's related to the bags. I'll put the bags on here and show that real quick. So I went with the Kriega bags. It comes with these two pieces to put on the back here that replace the stock. You can see the stock posts are kind of small. These are much more stout and stick out farther for the Kriega bag mounting system. Another part of that, I got these from Adventure Spec. So normally those bags mount to the passenger foot pegs. This replaces the passenger foot pegs, but still allows you to mount the Kriega bags and weighs a hell of a lot less than those big old stock passenger foot pegs. So one idea, my goal here is to try not to add much additional weight. I have shaved a little bit of weight with the tail tidy with those passenger pegs, but overall I've definitely added more weight than I've saved. The center stand definitely added weight. The skid plate definitely added weight. The handguards added weight. So eventually, that's the main reason I want to do the headers is just to reduce some additional weight there. And I'll eventually replace the stock lead acid battery with a lithium ion. I just don't want to spend the money on that now when it's a perfectly functioning battery. I also put a battery tendril dongle on here. I don't think that's even worth mentioning. I put that on every bike. It's just very handy to have on there. I zip tied it up underneath here. I think that pretty much covers it other than the bags. I'll throw the bags on here just so you can see that. I tried to put a throttle lock on here. That is now sitting over there in my trash can. I fucked that up. I talked about that in my recent video. I'm not going to go over it again here. This video is already way too long. So let me throw those bags on. I'll show what it looks like with the bags and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully I finished this up before my wife gets here. I just put the bags back on. They are very easy to take on and off. It maybe took me 1 minute total to get them back on there. They mount up to that piece I just talked about and then loop around here. You just loop both pieces around and just pull this to cinch them tight. Very easy. They work great. I'm really happy with those bags. Great solution. I also have a tail bag and a tank bag over there. I was rocking those initially, but I think they contributed to the wind issues on the bike because they increase the bike's profile. With these, you don't really increase the bike's profile and it puts the weight down lower, which I think has helped with the handling on this bike. So here's the side. Really happy with the Kriega bags. They're awesome. Very easy to get on and off. Good product. And yeah, that's my build. Nothing else planned, well, aside from the seat, which will be here in a day or two. Seat concept seat. That'll be nice. The stock seat is just too firm. It's true of almost every motorcycle seat in my experience. Other than that, I don't really have plans to do anything else. Long-term plans, like I said, once I'm out of warranty, I'll probably do the headers, the intake, and get the ECU flashed. I don't feel any need to do that stuff right away. The main reasons I'm doing that are for weight savings, not performance. I think the stock performance is just fine. A little added performance never hurts, but bike and stock form is fine. Overall, is there anything I regret doing or I'm not happy with? Hard to say. I don't think, like I said, I'm a little iffy on the kickstand enlarger, but it was very cheap. It's a Tusk product from Rocky Mountain. And I'm only iffy on it because I feel like it's so easy for this to sort of bounce around. But the easy solution, which is probably just good to do regardless, is to bypass that sensor switch. Other thing I'm iffy on are these hand guards. Although I do love the way they look, I'm just not sure they're as good of a solution as just getting like Tusk D-Flex Pro guards, which would have been half the price and are probably just as durable. So I don't know that these are worth it. But I do think they look nice. So there you go. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with everything else I've done. And yeah, at this point, I'm pretty much call this build complete. So thus far, the bike's meeting my needs. It's doing exactly what I want. I'm overall very happy with it. And if you stuck around for this whole overly long video, Thanks for watching.